Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today not to preach, but to provoke thought, to inspire reflection, and maybe, just maybe, to instigate some change. And as curious as it might sound, I want to start with a simple question. Have you ever noticed the birds in the sky? How they fly together, yet each one has its own path, its own rhythm, its own journey to embark upon. They represent freedom, self-reliance, and an untouched serenity. Isn't that something we all aspire to? The freedom to be ourselves, the strength to rely on our own capabilities, and the tranquility that comes from within. And yet, how often do we allow our worth to be determined by the number of friends we have, the people we surround ourselves with? We are often tempted to equate popularity with success, equating the former with the latter. However, let me tell you this, it is not the quantity, but the quality of relationships that truly matters. You see, the lack of friends doesn't mean you're lonely. It could simply mean you're selective. It could mean you are self-sufficient, or it could mean that you are, in some way, a reflection of your own inner peace. This perspective needs a deeper understanding, an understanding rooted in the philosophy of Stoicism, one of the quintessential philosophies of Western civilization. The Stoics believed in living in harmony with nature, in accepting the intrinsic uncertainties of life, and in distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not. They believed in inner peace, in the power of self-sufficiency, and in the promises of resilience. Stoicism teaches us that our contentment should not be dependent on external circumstances, but rather should come from within ourselves. It tells us that peace isn't found in the restless pursuit of more, but in cherishing what we have. And if we were to apply this to our social lives, it would entail an emphasis on the quality of our friendships, not the quantity. Under the light of Stoicism, having fewer friends doesn't represent isolation or loneliness. Instead, it could be a reflection of your inner state of being, a reflection of self-reliance and peace within oneself. It's an indication that you are complete in yourself and do not seek validation from external sources. But let's delve deeper into this. The Stoics believe that people attract those who are similar to them. This being said, the lack of friends could be an indication of a higher level of self-satisfaction. If you're content with yourself, if you are at peace with your own company, you wouldn't feel the urge to surround yourself with others for the mere sake of it. On the other hand, it could also suggest areas for self-improvement. Perhaps you're too rigid in your expectations, perhaps you're too self-centered, or maybe you're not open enough to the idea of letting others into your world. And this isn't something to be ashamed of. It's an opportunity for introspection, for self-awareness, and ultimately, for self-improvement. But understand this, realizing the need for improvement doesn't mean you're lacking. It's about growth. It's about evolution. It's about a never-ending journey towards being the best version of yourself. And this is the essence of Stoicism. It doesn't encourage complacency, but a constant strive for betterment, for wisdom, and for virtue. By now, you might wonder, but how does all of this help me? The beauty of Stoicism lies in its practicality. It doesn't offer false promises of a perfect life. Instead, it offers a pathway to deal with life's imperfections. It gives us the courage to face our realities, no matter how harsh they might be. My friends, Stoicism isn't just a philosophy, it's a way of life. And hopefully, by the end of this talk, it becomes your way of life too. Remember, a lack of friends isn't a verdict. It's not a sign of failure, but an opportunity. An opportunity to understand yourself better, an opportunity to grow, and an opportunity to find that inner peace the Stoics often talked about. So, let's journey on. Let's journey within, and let's discover the Stoic within us. So here we are, at the crossroads of introspection and self-awareness. Once we understand and accept that the lack of friends may reflect our inner state, may reflect our self-satisfaction, and may even highlight areas for self-improvement, what do we do next? How do we navigate this path and make the most of this unique opportunity? This is where the concept of self-awareness, one of the pillars of Stoicism, comes into play. The Stoics believe in the power of objective self-observation. By observing ourselves without judgment, we can identify our strengths and recognize our areas for improvement. This includes examining our social interactions, our patterns of communication, and even our approach to forming relationships. In the context of our discussion, let's consider how a lack of friendships could be an opportunity for self-awareness. If we find ourselves often alone, it could be because we are content with our own company. This reflects a level of self-satisfaction that many people struggle to achieve. Embrace it, cherish it, because it is a sign of emotional maturity and inner peace. On the other hand, if we find that our solitude is not by choice, but due to difficulties in forming or maintaining friendships, then it's time to look within ourselves for answers. It's time to ask ourselves, what about my behavior, my attitudes, or my beliefs could be pushing people away? The objective is not to blame ourselves, but to understand ourselves. It's not about self-criticism, but about self-improvement. It's about making conscious efforts to become a better version of ourselves. Because the Stoics believed that the path to happiness lies not in changing what's around us, but in changing what's within us. And this process of self-improvement starts with self-acceptance. The Stoics teach us to understand and accept our realities. They encourage us to focus on what we can control, which is our actions, our reactions, and our attitudes, and to let go of what we can't control. When we apply this principle to our social lives, it helps us accept our social status, our number of friends, and our interpersonal relationships for what they are. This acceptance can be liberating. It can free us from societal pressures, from the need for validation, and from the fear of judgment. It can give us the courage to be ourselves, the strength to stand alone, and the freedom to choose our own path. And yet, as liberating as this self-acceptance can be, it does not mean that we should become complacent. No, far from it. The Stoics believed in the power of continuous self-improvement. They believed in turning every obstacle into an opportunity, every setback into a step forward, and every challenge into a chance for growth. So even as we accept our realities, we should also strive to better ourselves. We should strive to become more open, more understanding, and more accepting of others. We should strive to strengthen our social skills, to improve our communication, and to deepen our relationships. And finally, as we work towards self-improvement, we must never forget the importance of self-sufficiency. The Stoics teach us to find contentment within ourselves, to rely on our own capabilities, and to be at peace with our own company. They teach us that happiness is an inside job. It does not depend on the number of friends we have, but on the quality of our character, the strength of our values, and the depth of our self-understanding. So, if you find yourself with fewer friends, rejoice. Embrace your solitude. Use it as an opportunity for self-reflection, self-improvement, and self-growth. Use it as a stepping stone towards becoming a better version of yourself. Because the journey of self-improvement, like the philosophy of Stoicism, is not about reaching a destination. It's about the journey itself. It's about learning, growing, and evolving along the way. And above all, it's about finding peace, contentment, and happiness within ourselves. So let's embark on this journey together. Let's embrace the principles of Stoicism, and let's use them as a guide to navigate our social lives. Let's challenge the societal norms that equate the number of friends with happiness, and let's redefine success on our own terms. Because remember, in the words of the Stoics, the key to happiness is freedom, and the key to freedom is courage. So let's have the courage to be ourselves, to stand alone if need be, and to find our own path to happiness. So, we've tackled self-awareness, we've looked at self-improvement, and we've dug deep into the roots of our social interactions. Now, let's consider how we can use Stoicism as a guide for life, to empower us to lead more fulfilled lives regardless of our social circumstances. Here's where we can truly admire the lasting wisdom of the Stoics. They did not just preach about self-awareness and self-improvement, but also illuminated the path towards genuine peace, contentment, and happiness. This is a universal philosophy that doesn't confine itself to a specific aspect of our lives, like our social lives, but rather radiates out to every domain, every circumstance, every moment of our existence. In the context of our social lives, Stoicism nudges us to go beyond societal norms and pressures. It encourages us to question the usual definitions of success and happiness. It invites us to redefine these concepts for ourselves, based on our values, our beliefs, and our unique perspectives. It teaches us to value quality over quantity, depth over breadth, and authenticity over popularity. In our world of social media, where the number of friends or followers often dictates a person's worth, Stoicism reminds us that our worth isn't determined by external validations, but by our internal virtues. It encourages us to develop qualities like courage, wisdom, justice, and temperance, because these are the qualities that truly enrich our lives. Stoicism teaches us that friendships, like all external things, are preferred indifference. They are nice to have, but they do not define our worth, our happiness, or our peace. Friendships, according to Stoicism, should be based on mutual respect, shared values, and common goals. They should be a source of support, strength, and growth, not a source of validation, competition, or stress. As we apply these principles to our lives, we can transform our social interactions, our friendships, and our relationships. We can learn to be more authentic, more mindful, and more compassionate. We can learn to appreciate the beauty of solitude, the power of self-sufficiency, and the freedom of self-acceptance. But more importantly, we can learn to find happiness within ourselves. We can learn to rely on our own capabilities, to trust in our own wisdom, and to find peace in our own company. We can learn to live a life of virtue, a life of purpose, and a life of fulfillment, regardless of our social circumstances. In conclusion, if you find yourself with a lack of friends, don't despair. Don't let societal norms dictate your worth or your happiness. Instead, embrace the principles of Stoicism. Use this as an opportunity to reflect on yourself, to improve yourself, and to understand yourself better. Use this as a chance to redefine success, happiness, and fulfillment for yourself. In the grand scheme of things, it's not about how many friends we have, but about who we are as individuals. It's about our character, our values, and our actions. It's about finding peace, contentment, and happiness within ourselves. I hope that this journey into the philosophy of Stoicism has been enlightening for you. I hope that it has given you a new perspective on your social life, your friendships, and your self-worth. And I hope that it has empowered you to live a more fulfilled life, a life guided by the principles of Stoicism. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please give it a like and share it with others who might benefit from it. And if you wish to delve deeper into the philosophy of Stoicism and its applications in everyday life, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We'll continue to explore this ancient wisdom together, and together we can empower each other to live more meaningful, more fulfilled lives. Remember, the journey of self-improvement is a lifelong one. So, let's embark on this journey together, guided by the wisdom of the Stoics.